Namaste, guys. So, have you ever wondered why the coal producing nations are always found somewhat away from the equator and not on the equator, in spite of knowing the fact that the amount of carbon required to form the high quality coal is found in the trees of the equatorial rainforest and the areas near the equator, but then also we don't find any coal producing nation on the equator, but we find certain coal producing nation away from the equator, like Canada. Here it is Canada, um, in the Russia region, in India, China, Australia. These are some major coal producing nation, but they are not on the equator. So have you wondered why? So one man wondered why all these things are happening. Like if we see carefully observe the um, South America, then it will seem to be like it will get fit into the Africa. If you carefully observe it, the edges here and the edges here, it will get fit into each other. So one man wondered after seeing all these things was Alfred Wegener. So he just said, Alfred Wegener, giving the continental drift theory, and said that oceans are made of the SiMa, silicon and magnesium, SiMa, and the continents are made of silicon, aluminum, SiAl, and continents are floating over the oceans. Although that is not a correct explanation, but he has given started the fascination that yes, continents are moving, drifting, not they are not stationary as we are seeing them from lakhs of years. They are continuously moving. So he has given two reasons for which the how the continents are moving. One is pole fleeing force. Here we can see one is pole fleeing force and other is the tidal force of the sun and moon. So he has said that pole fleeing force is responsible for the equatorward movement of the continent. That means it led to the movement of the continents or the land mass from the polar area to the equator, and tidal force of moon and sun is responsible for the westward drift of the continent, which explains that why South America is moving west away from the Africa. So he further said that distribution pattern of the continent across the globe changes through time due to continental drift, and also said that you must be have known the fact that once all the continents were united like this in the big continental mass known as the Pangea and the big ocean known as the Panthalassa. So in the Cambrian period, we can see here, like there are four era we know: Precambrian era, Paleozoic era, Mesozoic era, Cenozoic era. So the time period is mentioned here in the slide also, and you can see that Paleozoic era, which is important, it is divided into certain period, and one of the period is Carboniferous period. In that period, Pangea started breaking. So Pangea started breaking into certain pieces. Certain pieces that we can see on this map is, here it is North America, here it is North America, Eurasia, African plate, South American plate, Indian plate. Of course, Indian plate is not associated with the Eurasian plate in the starting. It was associated with African plate. Later, it get merged into Eurasian plate. Antarctica plate is here. Australia plate, Indo-Australian plate, we can see that is here. So that were important to know. Um, in the Carboniferous period, they all started breaking, and when Mesozoic era comes, this is the era of, we can say, the dinosaur era, the Triassic era, Jurassic era, and Cretaceous era. And when the Pangea started breaking, it broke into two pieces. One is Laurasia, which contains the North American part and the Eurasian continent, and the Gondwana land, which contains the South America, Africa, Indo-Australian plate, Antarctica, and the sea between them, these two land masses known as Tethys Sea. So here we can see Tethys Sea is there. So when they started breaking, they gradually shifted into making the what we can see today. So he has So what are the evidences that he think that, of course, we can you can remember that Laurasia has contained Eurasia and North America, also known as Angara land, and the Gondwana land, which contains the Indian subcontinent. That means Indian subcontinent was not the part of Laurasia or the Eurasia we know today. So what are the evidences that he has given to support his continental drift theory? So let's see what are the evidences that he has given. So one of the evidences he has given is the jigsaw fit, the geographical similarity between, one second, let me, yeah, here it is. You can see here the geographical similarity between, if you carefully observe the South American plate and the African plate, there we can see that they are almost like they are the two separate pieces of a puzzle board. So they can shift into, they can merge into each other very easily. So that is one of the things that was given by the one of the uh, proof that was given by the Alfred Wegener. And also one important thing is that we know the Ghana coast is there here in the African region. Here in the African region, the Ghana coast, where we see the placer deposits of gold that are whose parent rock we found in the South American continent, the nation of the Brazil. So how it is possible that the rivers of the Brazil shifted that placer deposit, or the placer deposit which found on the South American continent on the Ghana coast? Whether there are two possibilities, whether the rivers of the South America just jumped the whole Atlantic Ocean and then deposited the placers on the African continent. It is not possible. Of course, we know that means they were once together. That um, shows that they are once together. That's why the placer of the South American continent found on the Ghana coast. So one important thing is that this, and other major proof that he has given was the paleontologist who study fossils studied that certain type of fossil are that we know by Darwin's theory of species, Darwin's origin of species theory, that if a continent is isolated, then it is not possible that two separate continent will give birth to two same kind of species. Different kind of species will originate at two different areas, but we find certain similar type of animal fossil of animals on South American continent also, and on the African continent also. This shows what? This shows that once these two continents were together, that's why these two species were roaming on the same type of landmass. That's why fossils of each of them found on the same on two different land masses that we see today. So that is also important part, the third explanation that he has given. And the fourth explanation he has given is the coal deposit that we have seen in the starting itself. Like we see that coal deposits are found only on the only on the areas away from the equator, but we know that amount of carbon required in a tree to form into a coal, high carbon quality coal like anthracite and bituminous are found in the trees of the equatorial region only. But we see that coal producing nation are not on the equator but away from the equator. That shows that in some point of time these land masses were on the equator, and these land masses had certain equatorial type of forest once in some point of time. So it is also one of the important fact. And another important fact is polar wandering. So what is polar wandering? Just take an example, like if there is a rock which is almost melted inside the earth, then it will get some magnetic charge. But that when that rock gets deposited into the solid form, that magnetic pole that magnetic pole is getting locked inside that rock, and it will not change with the change of the time, with the change of the magnetic orientation of the earth. So this phenomena is known as nothing but the paleomagnetic orientation. So this is important to know, paleomagnetic orientation, but it indicates that either poles were drifting throughout the Earth history or continent have been drifting. But when scientists drew the polar wandering curves for different continents, they varied from one continent to another, it clearly indicates that polar wandering was not real. Of course, poles are not wandering, but the uh, continents were wandering, continents were shifting from here and there. One or also very important point is here, like glacial sediments. Glacial sediments are found in the areas in the polar area only, but we find glacial sediments. The uh, glacial sediment mark or the glacial marks on certain countries like South America, Africa, Australia, Peninsular India, Antarctica. In Antarctica, we of course found it, but in these areas, it is not possible that not possible in today's time. It is not possible that glacial marks are found. So that shows that in some point of time, areas were on the these areas were on the region near the poles on on the earth. So that is also important point to know. Also geological similarity between Scandinavian mountains. So we see that Scandinavian mountain are here. This is Scandinavian countries, Scandinavian mountain, and in the northwest Europe, and the Appalachian mountain of USA. Here we see the Appalachian mountain of the USA. They have also have the similar uh, kind of rocks. It indicates that they were also united in the past and drifted later. So that is also important, as we know that Eurasia and North America were part of the greater land mass known as the Laurasia. So that is important to know. Satellite images also confirm that continents are drifting. So it is also one of the uh, facts to know. Also, seafloor spreading. Seafloor spreading is given by Harry S. that we will see later. So regarding the critical analysis of the Wegener, so what critical analysis of the Wegener? Also, although the thing that he have pointed out that continents are drifting is real, but the reason he has given is not so acceptable for the scientific community, as he have said that pole fleeing force and tidal forces of the moon and sun are too weak that it can drag a massive continent. But if you assume that the sun and moon have the tidal forces sun and moon are so strong that they can drag the um, big continent masses, then it will also impact the rotating speed of the earth. Of course, if they have such power, then it will also affect the rotating speed, but this has not happened, that rotational velocity of earth decreased. So it means that this is not a real force that given by Wegener. It is something irrationally accepted by the Wegener, that this force is functioning. And also that a recent scientific study observation has shown that lithospheric slabs are drifting. Not it is not like continents are moving on the oceans. But one positive thing that we can derive from Wegener, that he has gave the foundation to the idea of the drift, that yes, oceans or the continents are drifting and they are not stationary as we assume it. So Wegener should be respected for his contribution, of course. So but his continental drift theory was incorporated in plate tectonic theory. So one important point here is the thermal convection current. So how it functions? The thermal convection current is, let us take an example here. The thermal convection current. So as we can see on the screen, thermal convection current, like we know that the earth is inside made up of magma, and magma contains current. Current flows from the uh, hotter area to the colder area in the upward movement. So hot things move upward area, so it forms a kind of current. So this type of current is formed inside the earth, always in the magma, but when they collide by the continental mass, they get diverted here and there. So when these are ascending currents are so strong, like when they are moving in this direction, this is moving in direction, so a rupture will happen here, and the continent will get break into two parts, and allowing the magma to come over here and start cooling, and it forms a separate start forming the separate crust area on the surface of the earth. So that is important to know. The it is important to know the convection current. So that is important. Coming on to the next concept, that we can see here that thermal convection current has two parts. One is ascending, if the current is going upward, but if by just by touching the solid part on the upper surface of the earth, it again get back down. So it is known as descending thermal convection current. So you can see that thermal convection current theory was given by Holmes. So on this basis, seafloor spreading theory was given by Harry Hess in 1960. And how it was given, that during Second World War, after Second World War, the certain oceanic floor were mapped for finding uh, certain submarines or certain ships that were drawn during the World War II. So certain new discoveries has taken place during the Second World War period. So in that period also, mid-oceanic ridges that we came to know. What is mid-oceanic ridges? It is nothing but the areas that we see uh, on the interaction of two plates that we will see later. Oceanic trenches were discovered, and also you can see here the rocks of the oceanic crust are much younger than the rocks of the continental crust. That means that oceanic crust are very new. They are continuously forming, and why it is forming, we will see it see it again see it again later. So that is important to know. Here the thing is given how the this diagram shows that how this seafloor spreading takes place. So this is nothing but ascending and descending currents are following this. Like for example, this is a we know this is a plate. So current is coming from their side, current is coming from that side. So slowly and slowly they it gets broken into two parts, and the wide area will be filled by the magma that will came from inside the earth and fill that gap and form a new crust. So as it moves away from the mid-oceanic ridges part, the rocks will get older, and the rocks that are near to the mid-ocean ridges will be younger in nature. So that has been observed during the operation that we have seen during the World War II. So that is important in the propagating the theory of the mid-oceanic ridges or the seafloor spreading. So that is important to know. Also, the plate tectonic theory, the idea of plate tectonic theory were given like uh, crust and the outer solid mantle known as the lithospheric slab, and the uh, middle mantle part which is formed of the magma is known as asthenosphere, and that lithospheric slab is drifting on the asthenosphere with the help of thermal convection current. So that is the basic funda of this although this plate tectonic theory. So when you see the plate tectonic theory, then there are be two types of plates. One is converging plate, like one plate is coming from here, one plate is coming from here, and they are converging here. And one will be this one, like two plates are going away from each other under the influence of thermal convection current. So there will be converging plate boundary also, there will be diverging plate boundary also, and there will be one boundary which will be neither converging not diverging. It is known as transform boundary, where the two types of plates will be like this, and they will move. One will move in this direction, will be move in this direction. So they are neither converging nor diverging. So they are just transforming. They are just rubbing. So this is the hot spot of earthquake type things. These plate boundaries are forms the fault and cause the earthquake, form the earthquake prone region in the on the earth. So there are three types of convergent plate boundaries. Of course, we know that one will be ocean convergence. In this case, one oceanic plate is subducted below the another one. As we have seen also, the oceanic plate is denser than the continental plate. So when the ocean and continent plate will collide, then ocean plate will get converge inside the continental plate, and continental plate will come over the oceanic plate. So in the ocean convergence, what are the criteria? In this case, one oceanic plate is subducted below the other one. So the earth movement like earthquake, volcanism, the faulting happens on the ocean floor, and these earth movement create land formation on the ocean floor like sea mount. We see sea mounts, archipelagos, mountainous island, oceanic trenches. Also the tsunami genic earthquakes and volcanic eruptions happen along these boundaries. So the Indo-Pacific region is an example of this. So another type of convergence is ocean continent convergence. Convergence is when ocean and continent plates collide. So folding happens, earthquake, volcanic eruption, all these things are happens. Example is Rockies and Andes. And one is continent convergence. Continent convergence in that period, for example, the formation of the collide of Indian plate with the Eurasian plate is an example of is an example of continent convergence. So when continent convergence, we know that Indian plate is denser, so Indian plate goes inside the Eurasian plate, and the formation of Himalayas take place like this that we are seeing on this in this diagram. So that is important to know. Certain example here, it is Aleutian Island arc, Japanese, Philippines, Solomon, Northern Island, New Zealand, in island arc in Western Pacific, Andaman Nicobar are certain example of this ocean convergence, not continent convergence. There's example of ocean convergence. Continent convergence example is the most famous example is the Indian plate colliding with the Eurasian plate. So with this, coming to the next type of plate boundary, it is diverging plate boundary. So diverging plate boundary is nothing but here it works like convection current is there, and two plates are moving away from each other, and magma is coming out of the void that is being created due to the of movement of the two plates. So that is diverging plate boundary, and it is nothing but the seafloor spreading. It is known as seafloor spreading, which forms the of course when we the two plates collide, then it is known as destruction plate boundary. Why? Because the subduction, when subduction happens, this continental mass in get destroyed, and when divergent plate boundary, it is known as constructive plate boundary. Why? Because new crust is being formed here when magma comes out. So that is important to know. Like we see here, when subduction zone, when two plates collides, then this plate goes inside the other plate, and that takes with destruction happens, and that destruction that converts into magma, and volcano forms just on the interaction of the plate boundary. So this is important to know. So another important part is here, it is this transform boundary, or known as the that we have seen that two plates in their converge, in their diverge, they just rub with each other. So that is example of transform or fault plate boundary. So the most recent example, or the most very famous example, is the San Andreas fault that we see in the California region of the USA. So that is the example of transform plate boundary. So coming to some more important fact is, here we can see that Earth is divided into certain plates that we see. Here it is. These are certain major plates that we know. One is Pacific plate. This is a major plate. North American plate is here. Eurasian plate is here. African plate, American plate, Antarctic plate, and one is Indo-Australian plate. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 major plates are there on the Earth that forms, and there are certain minor plates also, which is other than the major plate. What example is here? It is Philippines plate. Let me change the color of the pen. It is Philippines plate, Nazca plate is here, Cocos plate is here, Caribbean plate is here, Arabian plate, Scotia plate. So these are some example of the minor plates that we see on the Earth, and there are 7 major plates that we see. So I hope this is important to all the important concepts are cleared with respect to this, and why the volcanism and volcanism, be it earthquake, all takes place on the plate boundaries. So these are the reasons of the due to plate movement. All these geographical phenomena takes place like earthquake or the volcanic activity. So if you want us to cover these in separate detailed video, how the earthquake forms, how the volcano forms, why earthquake happens, and this area, why it is known as the Pacific Ring of Fire. All the major volcanoes are found on this plate boundary. Why it is so? Why the trenches are formed on the plate boundaries? As we know that Mariana Trench is the deepest trench that we found on the plate boundary here. So to study these things, write down in comment section whether you want to make us video on that plate, on that thing also. This video is all about the continental drift theory, explaining the basic concept of the continental drift theory that was seen in the newspaper the 2 or 3 days back. So with this is the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.